Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to today's event. I'm Jason Gumpert from MSDynamicsWorld.com. Thanks for joining for this session on collections management and managing outstanding AR in Microsoft Dynamics GP. I'm joined today by Griffin Swanson. He is a sales representative at Professional Advantage and works with Dynamics GP horizontal solutions, including their collections management and company data archive solutions. A couple of notes before we get started. Please do know that Griffin will be making time for questions at the end of today's event. Please do enter your questions at any point into the Q&A block that you should see to the right of the main presentation window. We also had a brief poll that we just wanted to run as we get started here, just to get a little bit more of a sense of your involvement and knowledge of this topic. So I'm just going to put that up here for a few moments. And with that, we are going to begin. Please allow me to welcome Griffin Swanson to start things off.
Thanks, Jason. Hi, everyone, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to view collections management. Cash is king. So basically how today's going to work is I want to take you through a short PowerPoint here, kind of explaining some of the agenda that we want to go through today, as well as the benefits of using collections management. So I'll do that, and then we'll hop right into collections management in GP. As Jason said, if you have any questions during the demonstration today, you can ask those in the Q&A box, and I will be taking 10 to 15 minutes at the end of today's session to address those questions. But let's go ahead and get started here so we have time to address that at the end. So collections management, cash is king for Microsoft Dynamics GP. So to get started here, my name is Griffin Swanson. I am the account manager and do the inside sales for collections management. Also like to give a brief introduction on who we are here at Professional Advantage. So Professional Advantage was established in 1989. We now have 12 offices that range worldwide, and we've also been a Microsoft President's Club member for several years. Now I want to go over today's agenda. So how today's agenda is going to work is I'm going to split it into two different sections. So the first section being here, the features and tools used in your daily collections or your day-to-day collections. So we'll cover the main window of collections management and how to create notes. We're going to show you how to set up and manage a task list, and then we're also going to show you how you can set up and create emails as well and sending those emails out with the new integration that we call payment links with notice pay link. Second part of this demonstration will focus more on the automation of your collections. So that's going to go through and we're going to really show you how you can automate the collection process. Now, before we hop into GP here, I want to cover some of the problems that people see when they're doing their collecting today and how collections management is going to solve those problems. So first off here, I like to highlight there's a lot of decentralized information in the sales and accounts receivable areas in GP. And one problem we see today is companies just don't have the ability to keep collection history on their customers in GP. So they may print off age trial balances, they may keep some post-it notes, or perhaps have shared an Excel file. But the main problem with that is there's really no way to share those notes, conversations, or history with other users, at least not in GP. So collections management adds value in number one, the collections main window, which is really the command center for this product, and it's great for ad hoc inquiry. So you can use the main window for tracking and creating notes, setting up follow-up tasks, creating actions on invoices such as promises to pay, or maybe it's in dispute. And then you can also access your task window, which is essentially going to be your to-do list for the collections module. Now, collection notes here can also be created from the main window, and the notes have historically been the hub of collections management, really the main functionality, and they allow your users to create actions, keep history, and notes on customer invoices. You'll also see those notes act as follow-up tasks as well. Second pain point we see a lot of our customers have is there's a lot of inconsistent follow-up, and with that follow-up, you're perhaps using a lot of manual communication. So our collection plans here are going to allow your users to spend less time searching for customers, spend less time creating emails, and attaching invoices manually. So these workflows are essentially a set of actions suggested automatically based on the due date of a customer's invoice. So you can use the predefined plans that we have set up, or you can define your own from scratch and really tailor those to your different customer types. You will then process those actions suggested by plans in similar groups, one by one, or all at one time, and I'll show everyone that in the demo today. Lastly here, bottom line, collections management is aimed to reduce your bad debt and improve your cash flow. So I'll also show a number of performance reports. We have an accounts receivable window. There are some smart lists and some SSRS report templates that come with the product. And then there are also some individual collector performance reports built in the product as well. Last thing there with collections management, it also calculates your DSO. So that allows you to track your day sales outstanding over time and then really measure your return on investment on this product. Last two slides here highlight the return on investment of collections and how you can track your DSO. So a good statistic to calculate your return on investment is your DSO. Your DSO is really indicating how much you're selling and how fast you're getting paid, and that can really indicate how effective your collection process is working. So the example I have here on this slide is highlighting for simplicity reasons. If you're a $36 million company today, that's roughly $3 million a month or $100,000 a day, and you implement collections management here and use that as a catalyst to decrease your DSO. The example I have here, let's say within the first year of using collections, you've decreased your DSO from 45 days to 40 days, so just down by 5 days. That's going to result in another $500,000 in your bank account. In the same light here, here's a simple cash benefit analysis, which really just gives you a better idea how much more money you could collect by decreasing your DSO. And then also based on some national averages on what's paid relative to due date, here's what $1 is worth in relation to days past due. So after looking at a few of these things, it's easy to see why having a good collection system is important. All right, so let's hop into GP here now then. So I'll show you collections management. I do want to note this product is designed to manage a collection tool, or a collection team, but it's also a great collections tool in a single collector environment. You'll also notice in the demo today that the navigational and visual queue features are the same as in other GP modules, so it allows you to work between modules with ease. I also want to mention here that I do have my demonstration set up today in GP 2015. Current functionality is supported on GP 2016 and GP 2015. However, we do have code for older versions, but they will no longer be enhanced moving forward. I also want to mention here I have a number of shortcuts here on my homepage, and that's just for demoing purposes today. But just to note, when the product is installed and functionality is installed, it will reside here in the sales area in GP. All right, so let's take you through collections management. So first I want to start here with the collections main window. So this is really going to be your starting point for your daily collecting. So I'm going to start by selecting a customer here. All right, so Aaron Fitz Electrical, that's the customer I just chose. Now the main window, again, as I mentioned, this is really your starting point or command center for this product. It provides a detailed record of your contacts with your customer. So you pick your customer as we just did. You'd certainly be able to sort through these different address IDs that you have set up for that customer. So if you're trying to collect from Aaron Fitz here at more than one location, this would allow you to do that. You can see we have a contact person for a customer here, which is displayed right below is their phone and fax numbers if we need to get a hold of them. We can see the last time this customer made a payment and how much that payment was for, and then their payment terms are listed right below that. So Aaron Fitz here was on our net 30 payment terms. Year-to-date sales below that, this is really just giving us a better idea how big of a customer we're trying to collect from. Now underneath that, we have unposted sales, unposted cash, and unposted orders. So I'd like to mention that these are drill downs to some core GP windows. So if I click on this unposted sales here, that's going to pull open a SOP document inquiry. So that's core GP, as well as this receivables inquiry window here, that's also core GP. So again, you drill into any of these three here, those are pulling open some core GP windows. Now these may be important for you to review before you do your collecting. First off, your unposted sales here and your unposted orders. Let's say you come into your collections main window, you're looking around and you see your customer here owes you a large amount of money that you still need to collect. You can look back at some of these unposted sales and unposted orders, and perhaps there's a product you haven't shipped to this customer yet or a service you've carried out for them. You can look at putting a hold on those things until you see your customer start making some of their payments. To put your customer on hold, you simply come up next to the customer ID, check them on hold. Once you see your customer or Aaron Fitz here start making those payments, again, you simply just check them off. Now additionally here, this unposted cash may be important to review as well, in that you come into your main window again, you see the customer owes you a large amount of money, but you also have a lot of unposted cash from that customer. That's showing you that you have cash from your customer, but it hasn't been applied to the invoices in GP. So again, it's good to look back at this unposted cash beforehand so you can potentially avoid an awkward conversation with your customer, reaching out to them asking for payment. When you've already received that payment, it just hasn't been applied in GP thus far. Below that, we have our credit manager field. So this allows your customer to be assigned to a specific credit manager. A large group of customers can also be divided amongst the collection team if necessary. Now I want to quickly mention here that we have our notes displayed here at the bottom. You can create unlimited notes per customer, and we also have a new note button at the top of our main window here that allows you to create new notes from scratch. But I'm actually going to demo the notes here in just a few minutes. Next thing we have is our aging, so that's pulled off to the right side of the window here. And it's worth mentioning that aging is pulled right from accounts receivable, so this information is going to be as current as your last aging routine. So you can drill into each of these aging periods, display that, and that's going to pull open a transactional window here and show you the specific invoice or invoices that fall into that specific aging period. Now, if any of you are using the multi-currency function, I just wanted to briefly mention that right now you are seeing your customers aging in their functional currency, but this drop-down here would allow you to see your customers aging in their originating currency. Next thing we have here is the total due. So this is going to be the total amount that's been invoiced to your customer and what they owe here. Below that, we can see their credit limit, salesperson, and territory ID, and those are just standard GP fields. We have our parent ID listed below that, and that allows you to see if your customer is part of a national account. So if any of you are using the national account parent-child relationship function in Dynamics GP, that would be displayed here. Now, it's also worth mentioning that there's a national accounts option at the top of our main window where you can display just a single customer as we were previously doing, or you can switch it to a group of customers, and that's going to display the entire national account. So you can see here we have notes for both the parent and child, as well as the accounts receivables for both that parent and child as well. But for today's demo, I'm just going to stick with a single customer. We then have our collection plan ID displayed here, so you can see your customer was on the regular plan. I'm actually going to demo the plan setup in the plan processing window later on in the demo. Just wanted to make sure you were aware of that beforehand. Then we have the total amount outstanding here, and that's going to be the sum of what's been invoiced to your customer, as well as unposted sales and unposted orders. All right, so the next second tool for daily collecting is going to be your collection notes. So let me display those here. So as I previously mentioned, you can create a new note from scratch at the top of the window here, but let me just pull open an existing note so you have some data to look at. All right, so when these notes here are created, it's going to show the date and time this note was created. It's going to display the caller ID here, and that's going to be the GP user who created this note. You can see we have an address and contact set up for our customer here, and then we can assign our note to different priority levels. We have our note text displayed at the bottom of the window here. So this is all open text field. You can type in whatever you want this note to read. You can even copy and paste an email conversation in here specifically for this note. So in this case, it looks like we spoke to Bob Fitz. Bob was telling us he's going to send payment by early next week on a couple of invoices. Now the next thing the user was going to want to do when they create these notes is assign it to an action. So an action is something that you've done, such as a reminder or a follow-up, or it can even be the status of an invoice. Maybe you have it as dispute, or maybe it's promise for payment. So let me show you some examples of these actions. So this action ID field here, this tracks any follow-up actions that have occurred or that need to occur. So you can drill into this. These actions here are all configurable. You can set up whatever actions make sense for your practice or even your specific collecting activities. Most of these are straightforward. You got checks in the mail here, sent to collections. Maybe there's a certain point in time when an invoice gets old, you need to send it to a collection agency, disputing an invoice, so on and so forth. And then each of these actions here can be categorized with one of three different action types. First type here is a promise to pay. So your customer has made some sort of notion that they're going to submit payment on this invoice. Second category here is special circumstance. So anything deemed outside of your normal day-to-day collecting activities would fall under that. Third category being dispute. Maybe you're going back and forth with the customer on what needs to be paid. You can mark that as dispute. And then if you didn't want to categorize it with one of these three action types, you can just leave it blank as an action as none. So you're going to want to assign an action to your notes. So on this note here, we have a promise to pay. So the customer is promising to pay this invoice. We have our action date displayed below that, and this is going to act as a follow-up task. So this action date, it really leverages the note as a follow-up task. I'm going to show everybody the task window here in a few minutes, but that way you have this note in here that's going to show up on your task window telling you, hey, customer told us they're going to submit payment by early next week, but if it comes due and it's still open, we have this note in here that will show up on our task window telling us that we need to follow up again because it obviously has not been paid. Now you can also assign these notes here to different users. So if you came into GP and created a note that wasn't for a specific customer that you manage, this would allow you to assign it to the appropriate credit manager. The next thing you'll do when they create these notes is select the documents or invoices that this note pertains to. So if I drill into this, this is going to pull open a transactional list of all the open accounts receivable that that customer has. And you simply just check the ones you would like the note to pertain to. So I already have a couple selected here. Now once I have those invoices selected, it's going to default this action amount to the total amount of those invoices you selected. You can change this action amount though. It is editable. If you have people you're collecting from telling you they can only make a partial payment, you can change it to the amount that they said they're going to pay. So let's say you're calling Bob Fitz here. Bob's like, hey everyone, I cannot pay that $3,000 payment today. However, I do have $2,000 that I can make as a down payment. You can change that amount to the amount that Bob said he's going to pay. That way, when that $2,000 comes through, we can apply this payment in GP and then follow up on the remaining amount with a different note. We have our status listed below that. So the status of this note is open because it has not been paid. But once that payment comes through, we can mark it as complete. If we need to cancel a note or if a note was canceled by one of our plans, we have status reasons for that as well. Now, before I move on from this drop-down here, I do want to mention that we have a button called Mark Complete in the task window that I'm going to show you in a few minutes here. But that way, basically, it goes through and finds all the notes with paid invoices and automatically completes them for you so you don't have to come in and manually complete these notes. But let me go into more detail as I get into this task window here. And then one sort of lesser known features with the notes here is that anytime someone comes in and makes a change or revision to the note, it is going to keep a history of all those revisions. So you can drill into this expansion arrow here, be able to sort through and see if any changes have been made to this note, the revision date, and then if it's been modified by any user. So that is the collection notes. Now, one quick thing I want to hop into following this is this total due drill down. So I'm going to drill into this here, and it's going to pull open a transaction inquiry. So if I pull this open, what essentially this is doing is pulling open an accounts receivable transaction list. Some really nice visual cues you get in this window here. This little information icon is going to let you know that there's a note attached to that document. You also notice there are some letters next to these as well. So this P here is going to denote that the invoice has been promised for payment. You can see the total amount down here on what the customer is promising to pay us. The cool thing about these promise payment notes is that, let's say that action date goes past due, your customer did not submit payment on it, it's automatically going to change this P here into a B, which will denote a broken promise. So then you can easily see which ones did not get paid on time. A couple more letters at the bottom here. We have a D that will denote that it's in dispute. S will denote special circumstance. You can see the total amount being disputed here, the total amount deemed special, and then the remaining amount that that customer owes that has not been categorized. So that's where those action types come into play, and you can inquire on groups like that. All right, so the third tool for daily collecting that I want to cover is managing a task list. So let me show you this task window here. So I'm going to change my action date so everyone has more data to look at. All right, so this task window here is essentially your to-do list for the day. So the collection management task window organizes your follow-ups to help ensure prompt collections. All of the outstanding action items for a particular collector can be viewed in this window. Individual notes can be opened or marked complete from here as well. And this is where that Mark Completed button comes into play. So by clicking this button here, it's automatically going to mark outstanding items as completed if all the invoices attached to the note have been paid in full. So as I previously mentioned, this Mark Paid Note functionality is really saving your collectors from manually having to check whether or not a customer has paid each outstanding invoice. So you don't have to manually go out and do that for each invoice or each note. Now, one other thing here you can do from the task window, and I briefly touched on this already, is you can select the collector ID. But if you didn't have an ID selected in here and you just left it blank, it would show you all of your open tasks. So maybe you have somebody out on vacation and you wanted to make sure you did the follow-ups for that user. You can certainly work on other people's tasks. And then you can also work on sort these tasks here by the action date or the action ID. So now the last and final tool for daily collecting is creating and sending emails. So at this point, I actually want to show you the emailing window itself, and then I'm going to drill back into how you actually create these letters, because I want to show you that pay link functionality that comes with that as well. So this emailing tab here allows you to send a quick one-off email from this window. So if the customer's maintenance card is set up with a contact and with an email address, you can add that right to the window. You can also copy in or blind copy anybody as well. And then in collections management, we have the ability to set up what we call collection letters. So letter templates can easily be created for printing, for faxing, or even emailing to customers. And letters is kind of an older term, but if you think of them as message templates, you can use them in this window. So these are all the different templates that I have set up. These are all configurable. I'm actually going to show you how to set these letters up or these templates up in just a couple minutes here. But let me just pick one here so you have a better example of how this works. All right, now I just want to previously mention that we have that pay link functionality here, and you can see that in here. I'm going to briefly take it out just for this example, but I will recap with that. So once I have that template selected, it's going to allow me to select whatever invoices I need to attach to this email. So we have a transactional list down here at the bottom where we simply just check the invoices we would like to attach to the email. So let's go ahead and do that. So once I have those invoices selected, I'm going to come back up in here and click this blue refresh button. It's going to do a few things for me at that point. Number one, it's going to list out the detail in the body of the email, as you can see here. Number two, it's going to print these emails, and then it's also going to attach these emails as PDF documents. All right, so now I want to actually drill in to the letter template window and how to set these up. So in the sales area here in GP, if you come into the customer cards and you drill into collection letters, this is that standard letter maintenance window and allows you to create those letters from scratch, or those templates from scratch, if you will. So that's how you set up the letter template functionality. Now the next thing I want to explain here is called our pay link integration. So this is a newer feature that we've added to collections management, and it gives you the ability to send a payment link in your collection emails. So this would be the one area in collections where you set that up. And again, this feature is called PayLink by a company called Notice. So there's two parts to this integration here. First part is obviously our collections management product used by us, Professional Advantage, which helps for your collecting money and managing past due receivables. The second component here is PayLink from Notice, which is powered by PayFabric for making your payments and then posting them back into Dynamics GP. So the main concept behind this is being able to contact your customers via email and include payment links for invoices that are due for payment. So with this feature, users can include payment links inside your collection emails, distribute those emails via collection plans, query letters, or one-off emails as I previously displayed. So customers can then view those statements and make payments for one or several invoices without having to register for an account or logging into a payment portal. So it really makes it very easy for your customers to make these payments. The end result of this feature, late payments are getting paid faster with less cost to your business. So let me show you how to kind of set these up here quick. So this letter maintenance window inside collections, as I previously mentioned, allows you to create templates for emails. So there are basically two scenarios when creating these payment links. Scenario 1 here, we want to create a payment link for a single payment link or for one or multiple invoices. So let me show you this one here first. So this is the sample template that I have set up. We use this very basic template and insert a function called paylink for multiple documents. And you may have seen in my one-off email how I highlighted that earlier. So basically what this is doing is these invoices are being defined by the letter template or by the user individually. So I can do that either way. So how this basically works is we use these functions here to insert those inside your letter template. So we have a number of different functions that we can add here, but more specifically we're focusing on the invoices right now. So you can see here we can add a lot of different invoices to these templates, but right now let's focus on the pay link for documents. So you can see here that would be how you enter this function inside your letter template. So that's the first example. Now the other scenario here, we want to include individual or multiple payment links for the invoices that we are sending. So let me switch over to that template quick. So this example here will configure the template to include individual payment links for all selected documents. So you can see here this is a very simple template, and the user's configured here. You'll see there's a function that's going to display the details for all the selected documents or selected invoices. So you're just going to have to select which invoices you want to attach to this. And then you'll also notice here that we configure a number of different characters at the end of the function here. So this is an integer that you would include into your payment link, or that would include those payment links. So our collections management documentation will actually show you how to set those up. But essentially it's just selecting those invoices and including that detail for each invoice that you select inside this template. So that's the two different examples on how you would set up these pay links. Number one, we just want to use one payment link for one or several invoices. Or number two, as you can see here, we want to use an individual payment link for each invoice that we select. Now, how can we distribute these letters? The first way we can distribute these is the collection plans, and I'm actually going to demo the plans here in just a few minutes. And then the other two ways we could do is use a query letter, which I'm also going to demo in just a few minutes, and then the one-off emails, which I previously just displayed. So let me just pull open that emailing window here one more time. Pull open Aaron Fitz here, and drill into the one-off emailing tab. Okay, so as I previously mentioned, these are the letter templates that you have set up. You can see that we can have the pay link for multiple documents, or we could just do a single payment link. Again, you can select that, and you could use that as a one-off email and send this right away. Now, one other useful function for sending payment links can be accessed from any collections transaction inquiry window. So, for example, your total due drill down. So you can see here there's a large amount of money that we need to collect from this customer. So we can drill into this total due, and we can see the customer's past due to receivables. So from here, we just have to select the pay link functionality. You can see that here in the top right corner. And we just need to select the invoices that we want to attach. So let's go ahead and select a few. Now, once I have those selected, or once I have those invoices selected, I'm going to come up here and create this pay link, or click that Create Pay Link button. From there, that's going to create an email from the user-defined template that I previously created. So from here, you can see the two documents that I had selected. And I'm actually going to send this to myself to give you an example of what your customer will be reviewing, or what they'll get on their end. So you can see it's a fairly quick process on how that works. I'm actually going to pull open my emailing here. Just bear with me for a second. All right, so here comes that email right now. And that pulls it up here. Okay, so this is the email that your customer would be receiving from their end. As I previously mentioned, you're creating that user-defined template, and then that would be displayed here. So these are the two documents that I selected. So let's just give you a brief example of how your customer would make this payment. So from here, they could drill into that. This would be pull open the web browser and show their outstanding invoice details. So you can see here, I have a customer's ID, the customer name, the date of these invoices that were sent, the due date of these invoices. So from here, your customer could simply pay via credit card, or they could pay via e-check as well. So that's the PayLink integration. If anybody would like any more information, more than happy to set up a one-on-one call with Notice PayLink or just provide more information on my end to see if it's fit for your company. All right, so that basically wraps up the first portion of this demonstration and wraps up the features for your daily collecting. All right, so at this point now, I want to show you how you can automate that collection process. So the first tool I want to show you for that is how to automate that process is using these collection queries. So one of the first problems customers see with collecting is finding the customers that they should be calling first. You know, most companies using Dynamics GP collect using an age trial balance where the customers are sorted alphabetically and not by collector. So you can use this build queries window here to target the customers that you specifically want to work with. So I want to show you the standard collection query here first, and then I'll show you the advanced query. So this standard collection query allows me to develop a list of customers based on a number of different restrictions. So I can sort by a balance that that customer owes. If that balance is greater than their credit limit, I can sort by different aging periods here, document dates, due dates, sort by different notes, or different action types. Really a lot of different restriction options we're giving here to pick or tailor specific customers. Let me just pick one that I've already created though. All right, so this is going to show me the customers on my high-risk plan over their credit limit. So I can see at the bottom here I have my restriction set. I'm looking for customers on my high-risk plan as well as those who have a balance greater than their credit limit. So once I have my restriction set here, I'm going to run this query. I'm going to click yes, and at that time it's going to tell me how many records it searched, how many met my restrictions, and of those who met my restrictions, their total balance and their overdue balance. So if I click OK here, it's actually going to save that query and bring you back to the main window, and you notice we went from viewing all of our customers here to just the ones who are in that query. So once this query is generated, you do have the option of sending a letter, a statement, and invoices to all the customers in that query. So let me just briefly pull that up here quick. So in the sales area here, if you drill down here, you can come into the query letters, and you could do that. You could send those letters, statements, or documents directly from this window. And as I mentioned, it saves the latest query that you ran, so you can see here I have my high-risk customers over their credit limit. But let me drill back into that main window here. So again, still displaying that query that we have here. This also allows you to hit this customer lookup, and that's going to show you the customers who met your restrictions. So you can see the two that met my restrictions here. You can see their balance is overdue as well as their total due balance. So that's the standard collection query. Now I actually want to show you the advanced query. All right, so this is a newer feature that we've added, and it gives you the ability to enter SQL script to query your data. So if you wanted to manually write these yourself, you can certainly do that. Or maybe you have somebody who's knowledgeable of SQL in your company and wants to create something different than what we have here. You can certainly do that as well. As I previously mentioned, we're essentially just giving you the ability to use SQL script to query your data. All right, so I do want to mention that there are several other applications where you can use these queries lists, but because of the timing today, I won't actually be drilling into those applications. But I just wanted to briefly mention those applications. So the areas you can use collection queries are, number one, the receivable summary and query window, which I'll hopefully be able to have time to drill in today, your transfer credit manager, assign customer to a collection plan, your collection plan processing, and your collection reports. So those can all be found within the collections manual. I'll be briefly touching on a few of those today, but again, because of the timing, I won't be able to drill into all of those. So that is the collection queries. Now, the next two windows that I want to drill into here are going to be tied together. It's going to be the plan setup window and the plan processing window. So first, let's touch on the plan setup window. So this is the second tool you'll be using for automating your collection process, and I'll actually show you how to set these up and assign these. So let's actually go to the collection plan setup window in the GP, or in GP. So in the sales area here, again, this is where you'd be able, in the customer cards, you'd be able to set up those collection plans. So you can tailor these from scratch, really set up these collection plans, fit for specific customers, groups of customers, so on and so forth. So setting up these collection plans is one thing. Once you have them set up, you simply just save those plans and be able to drill into any of those plans in the future. Now, assigning these plans is something completely different. There are a few different areas where you can assign these plans. Number one, and the most obvious way, is assign customers to a collection plan. So from here, you can sort in a number of different ways how you want to assign these customers to the plans. You can even sort from one specific customer to another specific customer. So that's the first way that you can assign these plans. Second way you can assign these plans is to drill in the customer card specifically. So let me pull open Aaron Fitz here. So you can see this is just the standard customer maintenance information, but under this additional drop-down here, we have this collection information. From here, would be able to assign specific plans to specific customers as well. Now, the third and final way to assign these plans is under the collection setup window here. And this is going to be the default plan that you set up for your customer. So every new customer that you have, let's say you want to have them sign to maybe a standard collection plan or a regular collection plan. That way, when you set up a new customer, they're automatically going to be defaulted to that specific collection plan. So let me show you how these demos work now that you know how to set those up and assign them to your customers. So I'm going to drill back into my home here. Got that shortcut page here. All right. So these collection plans here are essentially a set of steps or workflows that execute actions based on your customer's oldest invoice. So we have a few different examples here. We have a good customer plan. This might be something I assign to my premium accounts or those who are notorious for making their payments on time. We have a high-risk plan. This might be something we assign to our previously late-paying customers. And then we have just a standard collection plan. As I previously mentioned, maybe this is your default plan that you assign to all of your new customers. Now, if you're looking at the steps in any of these plans, these are all configurable here. Again, these actions are being suggested based on the due date of a customer's oldest invoice. So the first step in this plan actually happens 7 days before that invoice is due. So a negative amount in the first step. And what's happening is we're executing an action called soon due. So I can drill into this action, and I notice that they'll be receiving a letter during this action. So I can actually drill into that letter as well. And this is just going to pull open that standard letter maintenance window. So in this note here, we're letting them know that they have invoices with us that will soon be considered overdue. We list out the invoices in the body of the email with this function as well. And then the invoices we configured to be attached to this email include all invoices not overdue. So really a lot of different grouping options here for which types of invoices we want to attach to these emails. You could do all invoices if you wanted. You could do all disputed, all promised, so on and so forth. Now this window also allows you to copy in or blind copy the customer salesperson if they need to be in the loop for a certain step. And then of course we have our function fields here. So as I previously mentioned, these function fields essentially allow you to insert these functions inside your collection letter here. So we got our invoices listed here already, but maybe we want to just make the letter sound more personal. And we put the customer's name in there. Now there are two options when creating these letters. One option is using what you see here, your standard letter maintenance window. Your second option here is to use this Microsoft Word document attachment. So if you were to choose this Word doc attachment, you could still use the same function options. You could even use the same verbiage. Really, the only difference is that this Word doc would be sent as an attachment to the email, whereas this letter maintenance here, that's going to be the actual text for the body of your email. So let's hop back into our plans here. So it's going to take your customer through the steps in the plan as long as their invoice has not been paid. So 5 days past due, we send a reminder. 14 days, we schedule a phone call. 30 to 45 days, a couple letters, so on and so forth until 90 days past due, coming into your final action. So the final action or any action can be a reminder to the collector internally. You know, you got customer so-and-so now 90 days past due, and we need to put their account on hold, or we need to just send them to a legal department. Once your customers reach the last step in their process, or excuse me, in their plan, you essentially have two options here. Number one, you can keep repeating that last step, so maybe you send the customer an email every 30 days telling them their account is on hold, or you could just have the plan stop suggesting next actions. In this case, you can determine manually what you want to do with the invoice for that customer. Now, one other thing worth mentioning while we're in this window here is this minimum amount due. Again, based on your customer's oldest invoice, if the invoice does not meet the minimum amount, then it's not going to take them through the steps in this plan. So you can set a floor here for what needs to be collected on each collection plan. A good example I like to give is, let's say you have a customer assigned to the standard collection plan. You do millions of dollars with a business with them every year, but for some weird reason, they have a $5 invoice that's past due. You're not going to want to take them through the steps in this plan or even send them a number of threatening actions unless it is over this minimum invoice amount. And again, you can set a different minimum here for each plan that you have set up. All right, now hopefully to execute everything, we're going to use this plan processing window here. So this plan processing window is essentially going to be the third tool that you use for automating your collection process. All right. So what we do here in this window is essentially this is going to execute all of the actions that are scheduled to get for your customers. So you can see here we're looking at all of our customers, the ones who are sorted to get their next actions from the collection plan that they're assigned to. So you can see here we have a number of different options for which customers we want to look at. So we can look at all of our customers with a balance. We can look at all of our overdue customers. We can sort by a collector. As I previously mentioned, this is one of those queries where you can sort by a specific query, or you can just look at all the customers who have reached the end of their plan. But today I'm going to choose overdue customers. Now I can search the queue here by the customer name, the collection plan they're assigned to, the last action they received, or the next action they're scheduled to get. So just to kind of give you an idea of how this works, I'm going to pick next action here. I'll do first letter. If I pick the first letter, I know that's a safe and subtle action. You know, I don't need to go through and worry about who's getting those. It's a fairly early step in the collection plans, so I just go ahead and process all those customers. But for today's demo, I do want to make sure you have more customers to look at, so I'm going to change that back to all. So the overall goal of this window is for you to be able to come in here, do a quick review of your customers and the actions they're scheduled to get. Well, let's say you're running this through this window and you're like, hey, Atmore Retirement Center, I just spoke with them on the phone yesterday. You can select that customer as I just did, and in the middle of the window, it's going to show you the documents that are due for payment for that customer. So you can pick and choose which ones you want to include for this action. And then we have our letter text at the bottom here, which you can modify. So maybe put in here, hey, Jane, I know we spoke on the phone yesterday, but I just wanted to send you those invoices that you owe us. You can quickly modify that and then process just that customer, or you can even come back up into the queue and delete the row, and that would take them out of the queue temporarily and let you process all of your other actions. Again, the overall goal of these plans is for you to be able to come in here, do that quick review of your customer and the actions they're scheduled to get, and then go ahead and process all your customers. So let's go ahead and do just that. So once you process all your customers here, you're going to see you're going to get a summary window here. It's going to show you what's going to happen to your customers based on the plan they're assigned to. So on my good customer plan, it looks like we're sending 8 emails of a final letter, sending 4 emails of a first letter. On my high-risk plan, we're sending 16 emails of a final letter, so on and so forth. But let's say we have a customer that is not set up with an email address inside of GP. It is going to warn you to go back and set them up with an email address. So you can see here, I had somebody on my regular plan that needs to be set up. Otherwise, at the bottom, we do have the option to send those who do have an email and print those who do not. In that case, you would have to send the printed ones through the mail or however you wanted to contact your customer. All right, so that is the collection plan and plan processing window. So again, those two will be tied together. So it looks like I got about 6 minutes here before we start the Q&A, so I do want to touch on 2 additional features that come with collections management. The first one here is going to be a receivables window. So this is also going to be a window that helps in your automating process for your collecting. So the summary window here allows your managers or really anybody to review accounts receivable summary information. So you can do it by a credit manager here. You can do it by, there's the current managers. You can do it by a current query. So this is another window where you can use those specific queries. Or you can do it by parent company, and then you can really see how each credit manager is doing in regards to collecting. Otherwise, if you leave it blank like I have right now, and you click calculate, it's going to do all of your accounts receivable for you. So the top portion here is your standard receivable summary information. The middle portion here is the summary information on your notes. So you can see here how many disputed notes we have, how many promised payment notes we have. So you can see here, you can drill in and actually see those notes. But the two most important fields on this window are, first of all, notes past a contact date. So shown here, we have 6 notes that have gone past that action date. You'd also be able to drill in and see those 6 notes. But then the most important field on this window is your overdue documents not on a note. So bear with me, this is my demoing data, but it's shown here I have nearly $1 million of past due invoices that I don't have a note for. So essentially, I don't know why they haven't been paid. So from here, again, you could drill into that, and a credit manager could assign those to different collectors for follow-ups, or you could just use it as your call-down list to create new notes. And then the bottom portion here is just your customers aging. So that's the summary information window there, or receivable summary information. Now the last window I want to show you here to wrap up today's demonstration is this DSO calculator. So your day sales outstanding calculator here allows you to pick a specific period and calculate the DSO for that period. So you can see here I have my date set already. All I need to do is click this calculate button and it's going to calculate that for you. It's going to show you your sales for that period. It's going to show you your average sales per day. It's going to show you your sales outstanding as well as your days sales outstanding. You can then add that to a log here at the bottom and track your DSO over time. And the way collections is set up by default now is anytime you log into GP, it's automatically going to log that for you. So that being said, that wraps up the collections management demonstration. Jason, at this time, we can take a Q&A.
All right, great. Thanks, Griffin. Yeah, so anyone who has questions still saved up, please do enter those into the Q&A now. We'd be happy to take those. So the first question we have, someone asks, I believe attaching multiple invoices as multiple attachments through the main collection window has been a problem in GP 2015 and prior versions. Do you have any information on this?
Yeah, you know what? That actually was just brought to our attention a couple weeks ago as well, but that would be something our support team would have to find themselves. I'm assuming it would be a bug within your GP environment, but don't quote me on that. Again, that is something that our support team or development team will have to follow up with. So if you wanted to reach out to me directly, I could certainly put you in touch with our support team. Otherwise, if you go onto our website, we do have a support page that allows you to submit those cases and attach pictures as well to kind of better explain to our support team which errors you're receiving or which errors you're rather not receiving for sending those emails. So yes, great question, but that would be dealt with our support team.
For emailing invoices or the letter, does that only work with Microsoft Office email?
There are other ways to use that. Again, that might have to be some sort of customization in how you get that set up. But we do have current customers who are using different forms of emailing. Again, that's just making sure I go through my development team and make sure that it is compatible, as well as confirming with your partner. A lot of times your GP partner is going to have a better idea if that the email format you're using is compatible with collections management, but that's just a simple few questions for our support team.
All right. Where does the sent email get stored? The collector that sent it or somewhere else?
So if whoever sent it, whatever default email is being used, you will be able to set up a default email for all of your collection emails that are sent, and that's going to be attached to, if you're using Microsoft Outlook, that would be displayed in that Outlook sent folder. So if you wanted to set it up, you could set it up to where it comes from specific collectors. So let's say John Doe sets it up where his email is sending out all the collection emails. John Doe would then go into his Outlook, and he would be able to see those sent emails.
Okay, I want to make a final call for questions now. I also want to remind folks we do have a survey that will pop up after today's session. We'd appreciate you taking 15 or 20 seconds just to fill that out and tell us what you thought of today's event. Griffin, do you have contact information you want to share as we close out here?
Absolutely. I was just going to say, for those of you who have any questions after we get off the demonstration today, please feel free to reach out to me at any point. I do have my email pulled up on the screen now, as well as my direct phone line. If I'm not able to answer the question specifically, more than happy to put you in touch with that person. But again, I will be the best point of contact, at least to get that question rolling and get the correct answers out to you.
Okay, great. We have a couple more questions that have come in, if that's okay. So follow up on emailing invoices. So having collections management, is there an extra cost for this?
For the Notice Pay Link integration, or just using collection emails in general?
I'm not sure.
Well, I can answer both. Yeah, I can answer both those. Okay, so the collection standard default email, just sending a one-off email, that's one of the functions or actions that come with collections management. So that will have no additional cost. However, if you wanted to use the Notice Pay Link feature that I previously demonstrated, that would be an additional cost from Notice Pay Link. So we're actually running some beta prices on that right now. It is a new integration that we've just installed here in 2016. So we have a few customers who have begun to use it, but we're still running that beta pricing, and we would love for more customers to get on that beta pricing and that beta testing as well. And, that's really going to give you a better idea if it's fit for your company. But I have the contacts available as well for those clients at Notice Pay Link, and they'll be able to work through and see if Notice is fit for you. But in regards to that beta pricing, I have it. If anybody wants to see it, I'm more than happy to email it to you as well.
Okay. Someone asks, we have a custom SRS report that we use for invoices. Will that work to attach to an email?
Ooh, great question. So the SSRS reporting, we do have a couple standard ones that come with it. I'm going to want to run that past my product manager just to get a definite answer. So if you could please follow up with me via email, that would be great, because with SSRS, it does become a little tricky. If it runs in your standard management studio, I don't foresee any issues of using that to attach emails, but I'm also not an SSRS expert, so I want to confirm that answer with my product manager. Great question, though.
Okay, and where do we set up the email address for the customers?
For the customers, all right. I'm going to pull open GP here quick, and I'm just going to show this directly from the main window. So you can also go into the GP, and you can do that in the customer cards as well, but this might just be easier for those who are still attending. So the address ID here, you can drill simply into that, and that way you would be able to put in the specific information for that customer. So if you drill in, that's going to show you that contact information, city, state. If you drill in even further, this is going to allow you to put in specific customer emails. Like I said, you can even blind copy people in there, or even send it to more than one email address if you need to.
All right. Well, that concludes our questions. So we will start to wrap up. We did record today's event. We will be making that available soon. Thanks to everyone for so many great questions and for your attention today. And Griffin, thank you for presenting to our audience.
Yeah, Jason, thank you for help setting this up. And again, all of those who were in attendance today, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to view our collections management product.
And that concludes today's event. Thanks so much for joining, and have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.